her with the scene of small-town Christmas bliss. Maybe she was simply cold, but she seemed incredibly stiff. Her jaw had a set quality to it that conveyed a lack of interest in participating in the obligatory small talk that filled a night like this. She had brown hair, clearly a dye job, cut into a severe bob that landed at her chin line. Her short bangs barely touched the middle of her forehead, giving her a stern substitute teacher look. The wire-rimmed glasses she kept pushing higher on her nose added to the look. Her face was devoid of any makeup. "It's wonderful," she said, but her tone suggested she'd rather be strung up by her hair on the town green. "I'm going to get a cup of coffee in the library." She slipped away into the crowd. Miss Viv, seemingly the polar opposite of her sister with her long, flowing silver hair, glittery green eyeliner, and way too much mascara, shook her head affectionately, watching Victoria carefully make her way across the parking lot. "My poor sister. She's never been one to let herself have much fun. She hates the cold, for one thing, and she's been so down lately. I wish I could help her more." Stan only knew Miss Viv through small talk, and she didn't know Victoria at all to comment. But since she was basically part of Jake's family, they'd all ended up standing out here together with a front-row view of Santa's arrival. Jake's parents, sisters, cousins, and a gaggle of aunts and uncles who were in town for the annual McGee holiday festivities. Everyone except for Jake, who'd been part of the crew hanging the lights earlier in the day and was now at his pub, McSwig's, preparing for the onslaught of revelers who'd want a hot Irish coffee to warm their bones after being out in the cold. And there would be an onslaught, both at the pub and all the local businesses. It was one reason why this tree lighting and holiday stroll was so important, especially as the town had grown and evolved and new businesses had taken root. Folks from neighboring towns who didn't have a holiday celebration like Frog Ledges would come over to enjoy the evening. The shops in town were open all evening with specials and refreshments. Some, like Stan's new positively organic pet patisserie, were having extra special activities. She'd timed the grand opening of her new pet bakery to coincide with this weekend. Tonight was her soft opening, and tomorrow was the all-day main event. She couldn't wait. Stan had asked Santa to come and have his picture taken with the town pets once he was done with his tree-lighting duties, and Seamus jovially agreed. Stan had taken full advantage of the advertising opportunities, and she knew many townspeople, including her new-to-town sister Caitlin and her fiancé, were looking forward to bringing their dogs. But before they could get to that portion of the evening, the tree had to be lit, the signature activity signifying the official start of the holiday season. This year, the new planning committee, which included Stan against her better judgment, wanted to make a splash with Santa's entrance. In the past, he'd arrived on a fire truck. "Boring!" Betty Meany, the executive director of the Frog Ledge Library and new head of the committee, had yawned at the first meeting. "We need to shake things up this year." So, shaking things up ultimately translated to creating a custom sleigh for Santa to ride in on. Emily Hoffman, a local dairy farmer, came up with the idea. The committee jumped on it. One of Jake's bartenders, who dabbled in woodworking, offered to make the sleigh. Emily's new husband, Ted Brom, volunteered to tow it behind one of his snowmobiles. The plan was to pull the sleigh containing Santa and his elf across the town green as people lined up to watch its arrival, then coast across the street to the town hall and land in front of the tree, where Mayor Tony Falco and Santa would flip the switch together while the Frog Ledge Elementary School choir sang Christmas carols. But, like most things in life, it didn't go as planned. Stan missed the first cue, despite her position at the front of the crowd. She'd been busy fixing Scruffy's elf collar, an adornment her schnoodle didn't especially love but tolerated. So Stan didn't see the exact moment Ted's snowmobile skidded to a stop, perfectly positioning his gorgeous sleigh right next to the mayor so Santa could disembark gracefully and flip the switch.